We're going to leave you now with Noel Gallagher, songwriter for the band Oasis. Thanks for watching. Well, at least I've contributed to the game. Bye.
Noel Gallagher from Oasis, from England, and you're the camera. Great. And off we go. Someone shut that door! I define it as spirit. But then again, there's a lot of bands who've got spirit who don't write good songs, so I don't know. It's all down to the individual. Whatever they get out of it, I think, is the definition of rock and roll. I don't know what we can add. We're not really. We just want to write music that people will remember in, say, 20 years' time, like the Beatles done, and the Stones, and that, and the Kinks, and the Who, and the Jam. That's all we want to do. We're not really sort of in it for anything else. We're not in it for money, or we're not in it for...
I thought you guys were in it for greatness.
Well, we are, but that'll come solely through the songs that we write. Canadians. Yeah, I'd be proud of Neil Young. Neil Young's one of the last living legends, I think, from the 60s to left back, apart from Paul McCartney and stuff, Bob Dylan. But he's the only one who's not lost it. He's the only one that's still retained any sense of credibility or musical awareness. I hate pop stars or musicians who go on about how hard it is being in a band and all the pressure and all this. This is the greatest occupation in the world, bar none. I mean, you can't even describe the feeling to walk out onto a stage where there's 10,000 people, and then it goes silent before you play the first song, and they're there, and they're yours, you know, and you can do whatever you want. And then there's you travel the world for free. I mean, there's the women, there's the chemicals, and there's the money at the end of all that, you know, and there's the adulation, and there's the awards, and there's the fame. Life's gas.
Under about 25, gathering, milling around, buying things, doing things, drinking things, probably. No, I couldn't say that on television. And a whole bunch of music and a lot of money. A lot of money.
And it's money that concerns almost everybody at Lollapalooza. First, there's the 30,000 fans who shelled out $30 each per ticket. A cold drink and veggie burger costs close to $10. And then there's those t-shirts. One of those beauties will set you back another $30 or $40 easy. There's wares of all kinds to spend your money on.
Ladies, you need one of these. You need one of these. Look at that.
Not to mention all those special interest groups looking for donations. There's nothing really alternative about Lollapalooza, at least not price-wise. Just ask San Fran rockers Green Day. The only green they've seen on this tour is in drummer Trey Cool's hair.
Well, we don't get paid enough to cover our expenses, so therefore we lose money. So it's not like it's important to us or anything, you know. It's like we're not.
So you're not getting paid enough to
cover expenses. No.
Trey says most bands on the tour are making very little, that all the real money is going to Lollapalooza creator Perry Farrell. Half a kilometer away on the second stage is Japanese band Shonen Knife. They seem very happy to play to a Canadian audience, even if they're not making very much money.
It's like a festival, and we are very happy to join this tour.
Lollapalooza organizers maintain that the traveling rock show offers great value to music fans and gives up-and-coming acts a chance to play to big audiences.
We try and build a show that has some acts that will attract a good number of people, enough to make it affordable to do this show, and then we finish the bill with acts that people wouldn't expect to see on a big rock festival, like Nick Cave, like George Clinton.
Plans for a Lollapalooza 95 are already underway. No doubt ticket prices will climb. Likely the only thing that will remain a bargain is the free water offered to cool these thirsty music fans down. Peter Granger, CBC News, Cloverdale.
You know, Gloria, I was watching the Academy Awards last night, and it got me to thinking, here we are in Vancouver, where they spend a couple of $100 million making movies every year, and hardly any of them ever get shown in theaters. So where do they get shown? Well, it turns out that they're all, for the most part, B movies. And they're movies like Cyberjack. They're putting on a bit of the Ritz tonight. Cast and crew who worked on Cyberjack in Vancouver last year have come to the Vogue Theatre to see if their efforts paid off.
I'd like to welcome you to the screen of Cyberjack tonight. Enjoy yourself.
Cyberjack is a B movie, shot for only a few $1 million. It is, to use the old Hollywood phrase, a shoot 'em up.
There's always the filler product that's needed to back up the major releases like Forrest Gump and things like that.
Producer John Curtis has been making low-budget flicks like this for a decade, and he says he makes money.
You go to any video store, they're there in not mass numbers, but they're certainly there in Exile, Time Runner, Extro 2, Shadow Chaser. All of those films have done very well for the companies that bought them.
Cyberjack is also destined for video stores around the world. It is the story of an evil guy and his band of evil followers who take over a laboratory in order to rule the world.
Computer networks. Together they will simulcast my message to the entire world.
Okay, so it's not great art, but for dozens of people in Vancouver, it was a paycheck.
I worked for one day, only one day, but it was a great day because it was the first time.
What did you do?
Belly dancer.
A few of the SWAT team members are mine. The SWAT lieutenant and SWAT sergeant are mine. The ones at the end, I guess, writhing, they're having seizures at the end of the movie. Those guys are mine.
The picture is going to do okay. You know, we can't expect it to go up against Die Hard 3 and win. But it gets out there and people know it, and you know, as long as we're making $1 and the company is making $1, then that's important.
Senseless violence and pretty girls running around with very little clothing is a great moneymaker. It really is.
As the Louis Armstrong song goes, what a wonderful world. You heard Curtis mention a couple of times the reference Die Hard movies, comparing this one to that. That's quite deliberate. The script for this film is very similar to the Die Hard series. Well, it's not bad. You know, Al the cameraman said that he'd rather see a good bad movie than a bad good one. And for $2 million, well, it might be worth a trip to the video store. Okay, good night.
Disco is never dead. It'll never die.
Really?
Never die. Very much so alive. This night wouldn't be happening if it was dead.
At 10 o'clock tonight, you might wonder what was happening at the Commodore Ballroom. Aside from a backbeat that just wouldn't quit, it was pretty quiet. Why is nobody here tonight?
Oh, you're here way early. You guys are early. Come back in an hour. Come back in an hour.
But the true disco fans get there early, including Yukon, the disco king.
I have a philosophy for disco. People like it because it's fun.
But you know, John Travolta would punch you for having a haircut like that.
John Travolta would punch me for that, but I don't know if your light will pick it up, but I got the disco king in my hair there.
It's all vinyl. Always vinyl. 70s disco. Okay, Casey the Sunshine Band. Very popular, very popular.
They were good.
Very good. This is one of my personal favorites. Diana Ross.
We like to dance freestyle. And I feel like my mom.
I have a philosophy.
Your mom danced disco?
My mom was disco queen.
Okay, Village People, this is everybody's old favorite. You know, you can't live without them.
Yeah.
I could, but...
You could. You don't like this stuff?
Oh, no, I love it, but I mean, there's better.
Best of the 70s.
The best of the 70s. But they went and declared disco dead around the end of the 70s.
Well, that's what they declared, yeah. But this is the 90s, and people are dancing to it.
They said it was mindless.
They say that about a lot of music.
Can you do a disco move for me?
Oh, no way.
Come on, just watch.
If you haven't, if you weren't, if you didn't, bye-bye. And every day you can hear her shout, Coconut Woman is calling out.
Have you ever been so completely awestruck by someone's talent that you got tingles just listening to them practice? Well, for anyone at the PNE's Youth Talent Contest this afternoon, those tingles just didn't let up. Acts, all between the ages of 13 and 21, strutted their stuff this afternoon. This is the best of the best, culled down from talent contests all across BC.
How tough is the competition here?
It's really hot. Look at this. Look at this.
What is this? Irish dancing? How bad do I want to win? I'm here for the exposure. I hear there's lots of exposure for this. It's going to be pretty tough, but it's worth it.
Because the stakes are high. Whoever wins here today gets the opportunity to compete against American kids in Memphis. The winner there gets an audition with CBS television.
They get to commiserate with peers from the United States and Canada. And as I mentioned to you before, the kids in the States are out for the juggler. I mean, this is everything for them.
But there can be only one winner, and the judges seem to think the last performer was the best.
Like the sun I have known, if God had granted me a son, the stars die one by one.
He's a 17-year-old high school student from Surrey, and he wowed everybody with this song from Les Miserables.
You're surprised? Yeah, very. I thought I could do, I didn't think my performance was that great.
But everybody else did. Deborah Goebel, CBC News, Vancouver.
Believe it or not, this is blues music, performed by Vancouver's string quartet Baba Yaga. They're just one of the featured acts on the pilot of a new TV music show in Vancouver. It's the day before Hooked on the Blues' first taping, so time is short and tension high as the musicians rehearse and the production staff maps out camera angles.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to provide the viewing audience at home that consists of a lot of people who used to go out to bars and dance and have a good time and can't now because they have children or whatever. Try to provide them with the same kind of environment on television, the same quality of sound, so they can just roll up the rug and have a good time in the living room.
Oh, happy day. Oh, happy day.
Word is getting out fast in Canada's musical community that CBC TV is helping to promote regional talent again. 6 one-hour shows are planned for Hooked on the Blues' first season. The host is longtime Vancouver actor and bluesman Jim Burns.
We get some great guests in, and I think we've got a show here that's going to be, I mean, we're just going to feature the music. There's going to be no nonsense, really. There's going to be a bit of talk. We're going to talk about the music and the musicians, but it's going to be a music-driven show, and the talent's going to drive the show.
Even though a time slot on CBC hasn't been secured yet, the producers of Hooked on the Blues want to sell the show outside of Canada, where the real money could be made. And for the musicians, it means the potential of worldwide exposure. The music is frantic and heavy. The songs lack any melody or storyline. And with titles like Black, Stain, and Distress, it's pretty obvious this is not party music. But there's no denying the power and emotion Salvador Dream conjure up. The Vancouver trio joined the flood of alternative bands that poured into the marketplace over the last 2 years after grunge groups like Nirvana began selling millions of records. But don't call Salvador Dream grunge. In fact, don't call them anything at all.
You can't listen to us and think that, well, we sound like Nirvana or we sound like X. We have our own sound, which is a bit peculiar maybe, but it is ours.
It's not grooving, then you're not gonna capture anyone's attention, you know, from the start.
Capturing attention is something Salvador Dream and its record company is working overtime to do.
Salvador Dream, 94, this is the year.
On this night, Warner Music is officially introducing the band to the media, although most of these people have heard or seen the band before.
Do you think Salvador Dream is going to get airplay?
Oh, I think definitely. I think that music from the 60s and 70s, that was great in the 60s and 70s, but it's time to move on. I'd say about 65% of what we're doing now is just 90s music, and about at least half of what we play is current music. And so we're definitely behind a band like Salvador Dream.
Beginning next week, CFOX says it will add Salvador Dream to its regular rotation, just as a handful of other Canadian radio stations have. The pop mainstream is getting a very loud wake-up call that change is coming, whether it likes it or not.
I see a pale student of unhallowed arts. He kneels beside the thing he has put together. A creature manufactured of separate parts. A hideous phantasm of a man stretched out. And now, with the workings of some powerful engine, it stirs with an uneasy, half-vital motion and shows signs of life.
This particular story is very much exploring the connections between what someone wrote and what's happened in her life. And there was just theme after theme, really, that came up.
I mean, you've got these three elements, basically. You've got Mary Shelley's novel, Frankenstein, and Mary Shelley's mother, Mary Wollstonecraft. And
Which one's the monster?
Well, Mary Shelley, my ghost story. I have found it.
I was amazed to learn this afternoon that Shelley, she almost wrote Frankenstein as a bet.
That's right. Well, they would sit up all night, as they did, spooking each other out, talking about ghost stories and things, and galvanism and all kinds of things. And one night, Byron said to her, OK, we're all going to write a ghost story, see who can write the best ghost story and get it published. And Mary Shelley, being Mary Shelley, thought, OK, I will. And actually it began as a short story, and Percy Shelley encouraged her to make it into a longer novel and got it published.